What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys, as always, spending a little bit of time with moi. Always good to kind of have you guys here. Always good to walk and talk the crypto markets, get involved, and everything else that is happening. So, yeah, bullish on that. Can you guys see me on TikTok? It looks like, has my TikTok gone a bit weird? Has it gone weird? Am I back? Am I back? Looks like TikTok's just gone super weird on my... hold on a minute. Super weird on my end. Am I there? Am I back? Who the heck knows, baby? Anyway, hope you all had a good weekend. Hope you're all doing well. What a wild few days. It's been pretty crazy. Since I left you guys on Friday, the market has been, the market's been absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. I don't know what that is. I don't know. You haven't got a name. I don't even know what that is, to be honest. But anyway, but yeah, I hope you're doing well. We'll get into everything that's been going on. It has been a pretty wild ride over the course of the last 24 hours, like we said. Lots of macro news going on. Market's feeling very risk on at the minute. It's on YouTube. It's on... Oh, okay, fine. I mean, I'm on YouTube as well at the same time, but yeah, I will definitely take a look at it for sure. But we might have to do it at the end of the stream just because YouTube might be like, hey, you're playing stuff that you shouldn't be, but we'll see. So yeah, given kind of everything that's happened, markets have gone super risk on, sorry, which is kind of interesting. You know this by the fact that memes are absolutely skyrocketing. You know, Pepe's done like 40% in 2 days, which is, you know, pretty crazy if you think about it. And I guess, you know, I could sit here and be like, oh, well, we said this was going to happen. You know, we were absolutely super... Why is my thing doing that? We were super macro bullish about what was going to come down in the markets, blah, 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 blah. The answer is no one really saw the meme coin thing moving. No one at all. And if they tell you they did, they're lying. But we're here. We've got the markets move. The debate that's on everyone's mind is what is about to happen next. So I thought this evening we'll dive into, I guess, what are the charts telling us? What else is happening? You know, we're very much on the macro side of things here as opposed to the micro in the charts. But what I would say is what we were talking about on Friday, I want to say, and then equally... For those in the premium Discord or our private trade group in the Discord, we literally talked and walked this move through over the sort of weekend. And if you traded it, well done. Congratulations. Actually turned out to be some pretty nice moves and pretty nice gains. So if you did trade it, great. If you didn't, then, you know, that's fine. That's fine as well. Do you know what I mean? It's not always about getting every trade, winning every time. That's just not how life is. But at the same time, let's try and get into a little bit of what's going on. Let's try and understand what's coming. We've got a little bit of macro stuff that's, you know, building out that I think is worth touching on. And then we'll sort of get into everything else. We'll talk about potentially some trade setups this week. And it would be wrong of us not to talk about the elephant in the room, which is the whole Venezuela thing, right? And how that could affect the markets. Now, I did actually put a video out about this on my YouTube channel. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend going and checking it out. Talks a little bit about, I guess, the underlying reason that may favor the reason Trump went in. I don't necessarily believe, you know, all the kind of hype that it's like, oh, it's all about oil. You know, when you actually look into the individual itself, and I don't want to get too political on the show, but, you know, he's not particularly a great person, all right? Let's call it that. And, you know, there's lots of debate about whether it's the right thing and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I don't get too hung up on the politics of it. Let's talk about the markets. Let's get into all of that and break it all down as you would expect. So if you're brand new here, don't forget the subscribe button. And also, if you're here on TikTok as well, do me a quick favor, tap up the like button. I would really appreciate it. It does help out the channel. It gets everything moving and grooving. And yeah, we appreciate it. And 50 tons of silver stolen from Venezuela could dump the markets, but if they need to sell it, well, I always said the silver thing was a fixed pump. The debate will be in about 4 hours' time, what happens to the markets? That's going to be the big question, isn't it? So yeah, be more bullish for Tim Shea. Stream Elements loves Tim Shea. Future, what's going on, buddy? Welcome in. Tim Shea's in the building, everybody. Griff's in the house. Welcome to you. Axe21 says, Jasmine pumped. The whole market's pumped. You know, if you look at your portfolio, it's all looking good. The debate, like we said, is this just a massive fake out? Is this kind of just a bit of a, like, you know, joke? We'll see. All right, we'll see. So, let me move you over here. TikTok. There you are. Look, see? Getting smoother. I know I have to kind of do that, but I will try and find a slightly better way of doing it. And then I need to just... Sorry, TikTok. Hold on a minute. Oh, come on. There we go. And then change that around. Right. You guys should be able to see the charts well. Perfect. So here is the Bitcoin chart that we were looking at. Here is a couple of our key indicators that we've now had on this chart for the longest time. And what we can see once again is this move really playing out nicely. So if you remember, we talked about this move and we talked about the fact that the break of this downward sloping trend line was going to be a really, really good momentum push that we were going to see to the upside. And it's kind of played out, you know, pretty much to the money, isn't it? You know, you look at this kind of structural move that we've had. It is literally bang on the money. You'll know this chart. We've walked and taught this, you know, a ton of times. The only thing, and it's the thing I've been, you know, marginally bearish on over the course of pretty much the entire weekend, is the volume is very low on here, right? So we're definitely in a low volume zone, which means it's pretty easy to push this chart up. The two key things that I think is important now, we're going to get a bullish divergence here. Look at this cross coming in, the 20-day exponential moving average crossing over the 50-day moving average. This is a very good sign. It is a good sign short term, all right? Still in the macro and still long-term time frames, we are bearish, all right? So I don't want to be delusional here and just be like, oh, the markets are going to get super excited and everything's going to go to the moon in the next 24 hours. Like, we have to be, you know, we have to have an element of sensibility about us, because it'd be so easy just to get wrapped up in the whole narrative of what's going on and expect Bitcoin now to, you know, rally back to, you know, all-time highs. But what I think is important here is that we are actually getting momentum to the upside. It is a weekend, which is why I think the next 24 hours are going to be really, really important. Now, even if you go down onto a lower time frame, this orange box, I'll talk about in a minute what I've been looking at and sort of what's on my mind right now. You can see there's a couple of key support lines that we have retested and supported. So again, this downward sloping trend line is really, really important. This is almost like our move invalidator, okay? So anything rebanked down to here. So let's say we get a market dump. Let's say everyone panics tomorrow, stocks crash, oil companies freak out because obviously there's going to be loads of potentially cheaper oil out there. And we come all the way back down here. We invalidate this entire move, and the entire weekend is kind of just done and dusted, right? It's kind of the best way, or one of the scenarios that I think we can afford ourselves to play out. Is it the most likely? Probably not. And I'll tell you why I don't think it's the most likely just in a minute. You've got aggressive move here on the EMA. So the yellow is the 20 and the red is the 50 EMA. You've also got on the 4 hour here a crossover the 100. So this is actually a really nice move. And you can see what's important here, especially on the 4 hour chart, which is, you know, it's always worth going in as close as you can and then kind of, sorry, I just got my hand in the way of TikTok, and then kind of come back out to get you a feel for where it is. What you can see here is we got the cross here. So this is where the 20-day exponential moving average crossed over the 100-day moving average. What did we get? We got a nice push back to the upside, even with a lower retest here of this bounce. Once again, look at the retest here. So this is the 50-day exponential moving average crossing over the 100. What do we get? We got a little dump, right? Psychological levels that traders look for opportunities to move markets either way. But what you've got, though, is risk on appetite, and this pushes the markets higher. So what can we validate from where we currently sit right now? Again, you see the rejection here when the 200 EMA crosses the 20. So these are key areas for us right now where we're definitely going to see a little bit of sell pressure. So what can we think about? Well, the 50-day exponential moving average is going to start to work its way back up. So you can expect some volatility, certainly over the course of at least the next 8 to 12 hours when we come to BTC. Why? We'll look at the pre-markets later on, specifically the Asian markets. I think that's going to be a key for us. Don't forget, China as well as Russia have come out in support of Venezuela, or specifically Mundara, okay? So we need to kind of be mindful of what that looks like. Do I think they're going to globally crash markets? Probably not. But again, at the same time, for me, these are some things we need to be very, very cautious of. The other thing you've got here, though, is we know that this 200 exponential moving average, the big pink line, is becoming a very, very good line of support. Look at this. We touched it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times added in support. So we broke it as resistance. We came back down to retest it as support. The retest held, and then we pushed higher. So again, we now know that in this particular move on the 4 hours, that the 200 exponential moving average is going to be a reasonably good support level for us if we were to come back down. Stick it on your calendars. It's around 89,000. If this move holds, expect us to be around 90,000, I think, on this retest. So we could say that validation points prospectively would be around 90,000 here on the 200 exponential moving average. You would expect the 20-day to continue upside. This means that our validation point short-term becomes a little bit higher, so around 90,500 to probably 91,000. And then what I think is the bullish move, okay? We need to come out a little bit further here. So what's the bullish move on this? What can we expect? Now, bear in mind, generally speaking, from these descending wedges, you generally get a move from the initial point, okay? So from the point in which where we saw the move break down, you would essentially take that key part, which is here. So this move should play out to something like we talked about the bull market go or no go, which is the upper range of around $100,000. That's my opinion where this move, in theory, should go. Now, obviously, with any geopolitical event, this could be, a bit more challenging in the market, could definitely throw some spanners in the works. You could definitely get a little bit more unease, should we say, out in the market. So for me, this orange line, this has been a really big support and resistance line all the way back into November. So historically, a key area of price. And it doesn't matter if you go into the 4 hour, you can see it. Again, look at this. We come in, we retest the upper range, we break down and go to the lower side. We come back in. It's been a really key support line for us in an initial breakout to see us break through this line. So for me, the bullish case right now, if the markets were to continue, if this move was to become validated and we actually then, as the chart here says, bull market go or no go, is that we need to break this line here. So we're going to get some volatility in the markets. Like I said, we'll definitely take a look at the pre-markets because they will be worthwhile touching on. I'm going to sneak a peek at them just really, really quickly, by the way, just to give a bit of a facial record. Oh, okay, fair enough. So yeah, so we need to kind of get into this world. For me, though, this is going to be the key bit. And I think we'll know this in the next 6 hours because either BTC is going to push to this lower range, 91,925 break. So if you were, thinking macro side, 92K would be an interesting look at that potential move. While at the same time, if we get rejected on this point, then my view is we're probably going to come back down onto the 4 hour, which is around $90,000, maybe slightly below. Okay, so very interesting as this plays out. And I think very, very worthwhile noting. Now, just dead quick before I bring TikTok around here, look at the move that we got here on the overall markets as well. So this is the total market cap, $3.08 trillion. And again, this move continued to push. Once again, you see a very nice little correlation here between 20 exponential moving average and the 50 as this continues to push higher. And I think what's important to reference here is we are at a critical point. 3.1 trillion would probably be a bullish indicator as to break a little bit further to the upside. And that's probably where I think we want to get to. If you were, thinking, well, let's just try and see what the rest of, let's see what some of these kind of, some of these kind of ranges by here on the total market cap. This indicator told us there's a buy zone, that this basically highlighted the bottom here at 2.79 trillion. Again, I'm not saying these are the most obvious things to look at. And once again, the bottom here at 82,000, which a lot of people have been talking about as a potential market cycle bottom. So I think we've got a pretty interesting setup. We'll get into some more details in a minute. Dead quick, just while TikTok are with us, we do actually have a massive sell wall here at 92,000, which then if we break 92K, that's when we can absolutely get bullish. And this again prices in my opinion, where this line is. So 92,000 is essentially the bottom of this orange box. A break above 92,000 is going to wipe out here 237.2 BTC at that point. That's a big old sell wall. If you think about it, you're talking what? Best part of like 200 million. Sorry, 21 million. So $21.8 million of BTC would be sold here. Again, 453. So you're talking $45 million to get us up to that point. Now, I'm not saying that that isn't plausible, and I'm not saying that we couldn't do that. But what I am saying is that it is a little bit of, wow, I need to really think about when I move my TikTok thing, because you guys were really close to my face then. But I think we need to think about how this all sort of plays out, and I guess where the market's potentially going to go. All right. So I think that's kind of where we get up. So where would be my short-term predictions, and I guess where I'm sitting in terms of, am I trading this market right now? Not really. You know, we took the long trade over the weekend. That turned out to be pretty good. Now, Canton Network, we'll touch on a little bit later, I think could be an interesting short trade coming up. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Don't forget, we do all this in our Discord. We're actually starting to post way more in there as well, talking trade setups, chart analysis, all the rest of it. If you want to get access to that, become a channel member, dead easy. It's about $6. Or subscribe here on TikTok and you get access to that premium Discord, as well as our trade bot. Some of you guys are starting to use it just to get a feel for what's going out there in the market. So I think it's a great, great tool. And like I said, we've got loads more stuff coming down there. We just added a verification bot, which should stop scammers coming in. You have to basically get verified, which then means one of the mods can verify them, which means they shouldn't be able to just come in and randomly post in the chat. You can't help but random people posting, you know what I mean? But all in all, I think very, very interesting. If we were to fly through a couple of the top altcoins, just to give you a flavor as to what's going on here. Ethereum right now is predicting a little bit of a sell-off, so watch out for a little bit of a pullback on Ethereum. We may get that, we may not get it. I think it'll all depend on what happens with BTC, but we know altcoins have been overperforming, specifically against BTC as well, so watch out for that. XRP moving 3.7, continue its move with a very, very nice break. I talked about this in my update video earlier on. The XRP break is as clean as you want to get. I mean, that is a perfect break on XRP from this historical downward sloping trend line. So again, the only thing to be mindful, it's probably a little bit too aggressive. So you would expect a little bit of sell pressure to come in on this one, but you know, worthwhile in my opinion. Just keeping your eyes peeled on that one. What else am I looking at? Some really, really nice moves, by the way, that I've seen over this weekend outside of memes. Let's get to memes in just a minute. But AVAX had a nice move, consolidating today, which for me is a good sign. Nice little breakout here on AVAX. Ondo had a decent move. Jasmy, someone touched on in the chat. Nice little break. This is the line I'm looking for Jasmy, though. The 8-2 range. Break above that, then Jasmy's a go-go. Do you know what I mean? We're all good for that one. And then into the meme sector, which is almost difficult to ignore. We've got some very, very bullish moves. Bonk doing 29%, actually maxed out well over 35% today. And Pepe 16. Now, what's important to reference here, by the way, with these two is that this is telling us markets are risk on. Now, the debate is, why? Are they risk on because they fear a potential problem with the US dollar? Are they risk on because they're like, well, hey, Trump's gone into Venezuela, like, who the hell cares anymore? And are they risk on because they know that oil, potentially, obviously we don't know the full extent of what's going to happen yet, but it's kind of obvious. We'll touch on that in just a minute. But oil may be absolutely about to plummet. It may even crash on market opens. Like, we'll see. Like, maybe they totally freak out because it's just going to be loads of oil coming into the markets. And the big here is, oil doesn't directly affect the Bitcoin price, right? Doesn't affect the Bitcoin price. What it does affect, though, is it will dump inflation. Like, it will absolutely dump inflation. If you didn't see my Bitcoin video, again, I broke this down in there, which was talking about the previous CPI report, 4.8, uptick by nearly 3.5% on energy costs from the previous one in September. So it tells us energy costs are a big deal. It's probably secretly why Trump wants to get a little bit of that oil going on. But anyway, that's for a different video entirely. So HBAR looks really good as well today, by the way. All of those, Algorand, AOZ, HBAR, all having a really, really nice move. But like I said, for me, the indicator here on risk on appetite is absolutely within the meme sector, because that tells you that, you know, traders as well as spot markets are definitely in a place where they are, you know, feeling way more optimism. Look at this, gold and silver futures just down marginally, nothing too crazy, but worth noting. So we'll stick with BTC right now, looking like it might want to break a little bit higher, 91,330. That order book will keep very close to this. These are some of the big numbers, 91,500, 110 BTC, break that. I think we'll be starting to chomp away at this 92. Expect a few rejections at 92,000 just because of this wall here. The only risk to the downside, by the way, not a lot of buy pressure, but the good news is this is kind of moving up a little bit as we walk through there. So good. All right, let's get into the rest of it. Let's see what people are saying. Fetch AI moving well, plenty upside. Yeah, Fetch AI needs a lot of upside as well. Pepe smoked everything. Yeah, it did. It did. Which is kind of good news as well. Tennessee Eco Man, what's going on, buddy? Welcome in. Good to see you, bud. Appreciate you. RH says, hey, 2-Bit, what's going on, man? Welcome to you. Hope you're doing well. 2-Bit looking weak. Ah, come on. You don't have to get offensive about it. Weak, bro. Are you serious right now? I've got like a proper manly beard going on. I'm going to have to get rid of it before I go to work. M2 money supply is slowly coming into the news. Nothing to do with it. Just look at your coin chart. Yeah, I mean, M2 definitely looks bullish, by the way. Monad, yeah. I mean, we called the Monad move, actually, the other day. If you remember, we talked about this move here. Now, interesting. Monad's a really, really interesting one right now because you absolutely could get a break here. 382, 2811 is the current price that it could tick down to. Looks like a really nice bounce here on the 12 hour. So I think Monad's do or die. You're either going to see this push to the downside, come back down, probably retest something around 2570, which would line up perfectly with this kind of previous support line here. Or this is going to push higher to around the 3-1 range. So again, there's no kind of panic on some of these. Let's see what happens. Like I think you have to really segment your trading through the weeks. Trade Monday to Friday very differently than you trade weekends. But yeah, Monad, by the way, that ecosystem I think is going to explode pretty soon as well. Lots of stuff I'm hearing. Lots of people that I'm sort of connected with are discussing some really, really cool stuff coming with Monad. So keep your eyes peeled on it. I think it's going to be good. And then look, BTC dominance, we keep seeing this come down. Good news, by the way. This is great news for altcoins. And what it does mean is that actually, you know, money is flowing a little bit differently than what we want to see. Again, I'd like to see BTC dominance way, way down. 58.50 would be kind of a nice... would be a nice position to be at. So we'll keep close to BTC right now. I think this is probably the chart we need to keep an eye on, and we'll get into kind of what else is going on. So yeah, any snow in Yorkshire being snowed in? Yeah, I saw your TikToks, Rob. Yeah, no, we're fine here, mate. Absolutely. It's cold, but we're totally fine. What are you discussing? Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, potentially this week's moves, all that kind of stuff. I'm live on YouTube as well, so I try and do it on TikTok, but I don't think you guys really enjoy looking at the charts. You just enjoy looking at my face, which is fine. I like looking at you guys as well. Turbo gonna pepper its way out of here. Yeah, let's hope so. Even though from a very cold Lake District. Oh, Zach, I imagine, man. I imagine it. Stu's in the building as well. Yeah, it's cold here. Masilio, what's going on, buddy? Welcome to you, my man. Appreciate you guys being here. Don't forget, if you haven't already, smash up the like button to a brand new all-time high. Likewise, tap the screen here on TikTok. Drop us a few TikTok ticks. If that's something you're all about, then that would be greatly appreciated. I've just turned my internet back on. Hopefully my phone doesn't freak out. But if it gets a bit weird, will you just tell me, TikTok people, and I'll change it up a little bit. But yeah. And again, if you're brand new here and you enjoy talking about cryptocurrency, then smash up that subscribe button as well. We'd appreciate it. Okay, Joe says, good evening. Crypto is playing live and got yanked, just pulled and erased. The episode is gone. What? I don't know what that means. Fear and greed sitting at 40. Yeah, have you seen the altcoin market index as well? That's kind of moving nicely as well. So the green week ahead, 2-bit. MB23, I think we'll know in the next 6 hours. That's kind of my view. I could see volatility big time, but I could see a decent move. We do actually have some big data announcements. Don't forget, tomorrow, ISM, expectations or consensus 48.2. I think it's going to be a beat. I think it's going to be a little bit better. Forecast is 48, by the way. So we could get just that little bit of a tick up. If we were to get like 49.1, get ready. It's going to be pretty exciting. Chipper's in the house. What's going on, Chipper? Okay. Let's get into a few of the bits and pieces that's worth talking about. Let's talk about this, right? This is probably worthwhile. This, I think, could shape a little bit about this market. And we'll talk about pre-markets as well, which I think is probably worthwhile. Just to give you a quick snippet, everything with the exception of the Canadian pound, the Japanese yen, and oil. Oh my God, oil VIX is looking like it's down 6%. Shit the bed. That means they're expecting extreme volatility in oil tomorrow. Wow. We need to keep close to that one. That could be pretty tasty. The actual pre-markets look okay in fairness though, but like I said, we'll see where we get to with that. Okay. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, right? And I don't want to get too deep into this because it'd be so easy to go off on like a random tangent talking about or getting into the kind of political nature of this. And all I'm going to do is come from it from a factual standpoint, okay? So I watched the Trump administration discuss the operation that they did and what he talked about. And again, like I said, you can get the synopsis, you can get an update on what's going on just by simply watching my videos. Remember, we post 11:33 a.m. UK time is our Bitcoin and macroeconomic update video. And then we have a altcoin video that comes out in the afternoon as well. So you can get both of those if you are so inclined. So let's get into this story. So Venezuela is the biggest holder of barrels of oil, okay? 303 billion barrels of oil. But it's not what everyone says it is, okay? It's important to reference this because everyone just assumes it's the same as any old oil. Like, for example, the same as like Saudi Arabian oil. It's not, right? It's slightly different. It's super heavy crude oil that it takes a bit more refining. That's why when Trump said yesterday, we're going to have to spend billions and billions of dollars to get the infrastructure there, he was kind of right. However, it is also found in Texas and Louisiana, and they do have 6 of the largest heavy crude oil refineries in the world, right? So again, the important part here is that essentially, if you just break this down, TLDR, the US does want some oil, right? We'd be naive, we'd be kidding ourselves if we sat here and said it's all about saving the people of Venezuela, right? I'm sure that is absolutely part of it. But at the same time, we know Trump wants to bring energy costs down. If he brings energy costs down, he brings inflation down. You bring inflation down, you bring costs of everything down. Like, it's a big win. And part of it is obviously, you can, do all the good stuff in Venezuela as well. But it produces 3 times as much oil than it actually needs, right? So it's a huge exporter of oil, right? But it's been going into the wrong places. You can see here on this chart that this is a crude oil production in Venezuela from 2000 to August 2019, right? So massively opposite to where it's been going. And it's all because it's going somewhere else, right? It's going back to, the regime or whatever you want to call it. What's interesting, though, is that where it's all going to then play out for. And actually, the US has become incredibly dependent on heavy crude oil, right? It needs it. And the way to look at this is, like I said in the video, this is the CPI report from the last consumer consensus. You can see here, look, energy services was a tick up of 7.4%. Oil, look at this, fuel oil, 11.3, unadjusted 12 months ending November 2025. Like, it's a massive problem. Like, they need to bring the cost of energy down. They can't build nuclear power plants quick enough, etc., 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 right? But they can bring an absolute shit ton of oil in and do it cheap, right? Do it super, super cheap. So the fact here is that they then don't need to rely on lots of other areas, and essentially they can start putting money into Venezuela, which I think is important, right? So they haven't really been importing it. So it's like a win-win, isn't it? They get a massive import of oil. They're going to get cheap oil. At the same time, they can support the Venezuelan markets, which will bring inflation down. This is the key bit. We're going to have our very large US oil companies go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the broken oil infrastructure, and start making money. I'm going to quote this. I'm going to bet something here. I say bet, right? But I bet there's some sort of pipeline that's going to go from somewhere to somewhere, and it probably ends up somewhere in the US as well, right? But aside from Venezuela, Russia has some of the largest heavy crude oil reserves in the world. Tapping the Venezuelans' heavy crude oil reserves effectively further weakens Russia's influence. It's like a super crazy 4D chess. And the fact that you've got Xi Jinping and Putin's come out and gone, hey, you know, you shouldn't be doing this shit. You shouldn't be doing this. And Trump's kind of like, well, you know, might be getting to the table. All that kind of stuff is a pretty important reference, right? And top it all off, China is the largest buyer of Venezuelan oil. So if you were going to go after China, if you were going to try and make China, you know, or you were going to try and like 4D chess China, because you can't beat them on the consumer market. You can't beat them on cost of goods. You can't beat them on energy because they don't care. They just, you know, build more nuclear power plants, coal power plants, whatever, right? So you just go and steal that. Well, no, that's the wrong word, actually. I don't mean that. They're going to just go and make sure that the oil sits within the US and not sits within China, which is going to be pretty interesting, right? So the macro economy will then shift on stocks, commodities, bonds, and crypto will move, right? This is why we think, yeah, definitely 4D on Iran. I mean, did you see the tweet he put out earlier? He's like, yeah, we'll go in anywhere. Like, he's got rogue. He's just like, yeah, we'll come for you. Like, we're coming everywhere. But the fact here is, and this will play into what I'm going to look at in just a minute. In theory, what it should mean is if you bring the cost of goods down, you essentially should make companies more profitable, right? One of the biggest costs of any business is energy. Here's a question for you all, right? A little bit of a quiz, a little bit of a, you know, how you been listening? It's not like school. In the manufacturing sector, right? What is the biggest outlay that companies generally have to pay for in manufacturing? Anyone want to hazard a guess? Power! Robert Dover knows what's up. Exactly. Have you ever gone to like a steel forge or a car plant or whatever? The actual cost to run the machines is essentially the most expensive part of any particular manufacturing business. So think about it this way. You have to choose one of two things. You either outgrow your sales versus your cost metric. Okay. So you basically then sell more than it costs to produce. So you grow your sales ahead of your costs. That's generally how businesses operate. Or you make your cost cheaper. How do you make cost cheaper? Go for the biggest factor. Cut energy. Cut energy supports what we were talking about 2 weeks ago. If you cut energy, what are you going to start to get? Well, you're going to start to get some of these stocks will start to rally. So watch this tomorrow, right? I'm not telling you I know what I'm doing. Bits plays, yeah. Oh, Busy Bear, yeah, I hope so, man. I hope so. I think there's definitely an argument for it. So if you get cheaper energy costs, you will then get cheaper data centers. Cheaper data centers means cheaper ways of manufacturing. Google, Apple, AMD, Oracle. Watch these coins and stocks this week. I think you could get some pretty tasty news. Also, imagine oil comes down. What will it do to the ISM? The ISM could flip bullish, could show expansion in the markets, and all of that will be good news. Production machinery is the highest cost to any manufacturing business. The way in which you drive growth in a country is through manufacturing. We already know the services are pretty good in the US. That's not a debate. So, you know, you could be in a like super 4D mega play here by Trump that I think a lot of people are missing. And it's, and Trump's going to put it under the fact that he's gone in to support Venezuela, but let's not kid ourselves, right? At the same time, then, if all of this comes down, it's going to be big for the crypto market. Bar none, right? It's just going to be big for the crypto market because everyone's going to get super bullish on it. Some things have to go right. Some things have to play out. But in my opinion, that's kind of what's going on right now. Let's see what you guys think. Inflation is down. We're going into an asset deflation recession. Inflation is down, though. Inflation is down. It's below 2% right now. Doesn't mean it can't spike up pretty quickly. But yeah, US specifically. I mean, the UK is bollocks. But 1.95% is trueflation at the minute, which I know is not the most accurate number in the world. But that's actually down, by the way. While at the same time recording public debt going to 38.51 trillion, which is kind of wild. If you think about it. Cryptovirius, what's going on? Says China makes it so silver doesn't leave their country without government to say so. So the US capture the country. I mean, the silver thing in China as well. That's why I said, like, I thought silver was just a massively manufactured move. I still think that, by the way. So 72.81. Obviously, the markets have been closed over the weekend. So yeah, I mean, I would expect commodities to, to probably rally a little bit. If I'm honest, I think we'll probably get a little bit of a rally, but we'll take a look at the pre-markets. Let's not spoil it because it'll be fun later on when we all look at it. The US companies went in to set everything up in Venezuela. Then the communists came in and kicked them out. Yeah, I heard that a while back. I heard that. Yeah, I mean, that's true. And I've always said that, by the way, Griff. I've always been in a world where I'm not sure that companies would pass it on to the consumer because they don't have to, I guess. Being a bandit isn't 4D chess. It's just armed thievery. Look, I don't want to get into the politicals of it, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely some arguments for what they've done. At the same time, you know, is it? It depends what you. I need to just be really mindful. Don't get too politically. It depends what you classify, I guess, Nicolas Maduro as. I guess that if you said he was a sitting president of Venezuela, then yeah, it's probably a bit of a problem. What do you think will happen with VRA now? I think they screwed the community. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. Everything I read about it, everything I've looked about it, everything I've researched on it, I think they're a disgrace, and I think they've screwed every single person that invested in that coin. That's just my opinion. And I saw a story that someone had posted saying, do I hold for the new token or do I sell? I can tell you this, honestly, I have never seen a successful V2 launch ever. Never. It always ends the same way. Nothing moved that energy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Is in Venezuela a place where I sent people? No, I think that was El Salvador. DMG, what's going on? Good to see you, man. Mercedes says, are you bullish Q1, Q2? I'm bullish. In fact, I'm way more bullish on Q2 than I am Q1, actually. And that will because I think a lot of this data we're going to get certainly could start to look a bit more favorable. And I think Q2 may actually line up better than what we see with Q1. You know, we'll have to kind of wait and see what happens. But yeah, we'll see on that. But yeah, Sonny Raj, what's going on, buddy? Welcome in. So yeah, let me know what you think of the whole, like, you know, Venezuela thing. In fact, I was going to put a but we'll get the ISM data. I tell you when we'll get the next CPI read as well, which could be interesting because that'll tell us what this looks like. It is, FYI, just another date for you diaries, by the way, 13th of January. So make sure you have that dialed in because that, man, I mean, that could get pretty tasty, couldn't it? Bullish. Fat Sonic's bullish. Q2 is UK tax year end, so Q3. Yeah, I don't know how much the UK will move those markets, if I'm honest. But yeah, again, if you were, like Fat Sonic said, we've still got a lot of key metrics to break over. Thoughts on Starknet? Starknet. I don't really have a lot, to be honest. As we saw it as a pre-sale, didn't we? As a what do you call it? Like an airdrop, way back when. But yeah, I don't have loads. I don't even know what price it is. Stick around. Remind me in about 10 minutes, and we'll take a look at the chart and stuff. Would you hold VRA or sell it? Do you think it could go back up? Anything can go back up. Anything could go back up. Do I think it's going to go back up? I'm not sure. I'm not sure personally, but yeah, we'll see. All right, cool. Welcome, man. Some cool people joining the Discord, by the way. Shout out to you guys. Welcome in. Hope you're all bullish. Don't forget, you need to do /verify. That will verify your account. If you don't, then you do eventually just get yeeted out of the... you do get yeeted out of there, unfortunately. It is dead simple because it means that you can't read. And so, yeah. But if you are in the Discord, by the way, welcome in. Appreciate you. As a trader, I just head short and I'm a little long. I already take... Yeah, I mean, I took a long on Canton Network and I took a long on BTC, but I'm out of both of them now, so... Not really doing anything, by the way. If you do want to trade these markets, though, don't forget, we have a great partnership with BITUNIX. Check those out. You've only got a few days left if you do want to sign up to their account. Again, not financial advice. They are a good account. So I've been doing loads of my trading. You guys saw some of my setups that I'd done the other day as well, which, yeah, if you are interested, then check it out. Link in the description. Also, if you join the premium Discord, it is worth your time. We have that in there as well. But yeah, definitely check them out. They 4 days left. We're currently running a pretty bullish deposit. $100, get $50 futures bonus for free. 500, 250. 1,000, get 500. Pretty bullish if you ask me. So lots of good stuff. Lots of good stuff. So good. Selling. Gross. Get the hell out of here. So yeah, good news. All right. So check that out for sure. Okay. Let's get into a couple of other bits and pieces that I think are worthwhile. And we'll sort of see where we sort of end up. But yeah. Now, Bitcoin whales made their biggest move in over 10 years during doubt, not euphoria. That's how bottoms are formed. Actually, we see the biggest accumulation of BTC over the course of the last few days that we've seen for the longest time. In fact, that we've seen pretty much most of the last 10 years. Now, that doesn't really mean like everyone's going super, super bullish, because actually we've seen significantly low. What we are saying, though, is there is a stark accumulation of BTC at a pretty strong level. Now, here's one thing I think is going to come tomorrow, and I have to say think because I can't be 100% certain on this, but it certainly looks that way. When you look at spot Bitcoin ETFs, we obviously know the markets are closed. There is, or feels like there is, a pretty big expectation here that BlackRock are going to come in pretty aggressively on the market open. So we'll have to stay very close to this one, because if BlackRock coming and buy tomorrow, it might be on. Do you know what I mean? For a relief rally. Okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I don't want to get into this. Everything's going to be fucking green and we need to long the markets. I'm not going to be in that place just yet, but could certainly give us some very, very, very good news. Just keep an eye on, obviously, the BlackRock wallets. I'll keep a track of these. Make sure you are following my social media or in our Discord, and I'll post if I see anything on here. But we know that actually, because people say, well, hold on a minute, 2-bit. Hold on. Why do you think they're buying? Well, because the fact is that Friday they sold an absolute crap ton. They sold over $150 million worth of BTC on Friday. And we know this obviously based on what we saw up here. So again, we saw that kind of accumulation here, but they dumped an absolute frick ton. So watch out for that, in my opinion, okay? So, we could definitely get some pretty much bullish news coming in. And if you look at this, I think we've got a definite advantage, or certainly an argument to say that we might start to see these accumulate. So, yeah, worthwhile thinking about. 94K FOMO pump, in my opinion. I hope so. Probably a retail FOMO pump soon. Maybe it's already here with the memes going first. I mean, definitely memes would indicate that markets are a little bit more optimistic, should we say, as to where they're going. But yeah, I think that's probably a good indicator as to potentially, further upside moves. So, okay, so good news when we get to that. Now, worth noting here as well, by the way, BTC futures open interest is skyrocketing as well. And you can see this on this chart a little bit easier. So the yellow line is the BTC price and the green is open interest. So it's starting to tick back up, similar to where we were back in March, where we got that rally then up to new all-time highs. So what does this mean? People are definitely thinking about trading this market, and they're definitely probably looking to trade this volatility over the course of the next, certainly 24 to 48 hours. Now, we can also see, if I can bring this up, we can also see what traders are positioning. So if we look at inflows, for example, on stable coins, we will be able to get a feel for what is happening at the markets. Kevin, what's going on, buddy? Welcome in. Mad About History says it's coming. I hope so, man. I'm down for it. Markets will put more, in my opinion. People are going to get into the FOMO. I mean, if we do get a strong move, then yeah, you could definitely expect to see a pretty, pretty strong kind of move. We'll see. So yeah, exchange inflows on stable coins, specifically USDT, is going to be something to keep your eyes peeled on. You can see here, look, that actually we're seeing net inflows of around about $179 million of USDT going into, I think this is all exchanges at the minute that we have a list on here. So, people are dumping USDT into exchanges. These are net inflows, all right, or net flows. So people are moving USDT into exchanges. You got to ask yourself your question, why? Last time we saw this move back here, look, December 30th. If you correlate that to the chart, what do we get? December 30th. We got a nice little green move here. Actually retested that range. So we could get this push, we could definitely see this push a little bit later as the demand starts to come in specific on that. We can actually check it with USDC as well, just out of pure interest. And you can see here net inflows on USDC as well. So You know, there's lots of arguments to say that this week could be pretty bullish. At the same time, though, remember, when all the markets feel like everything's going to be a simple move to the upside, it often comes and bites us in the ass, all right? So we do need to be mindful of that. By the way, we've got like 130 people in the stream right now. Give us a quick thumbs up. Would appreciate it. Helps the channel out, obviously. And if you haven't subscribed, then I highly recommend subscribing to the channel as well. Check out the links in the description. We've obviously got our Discord in there where we've got trade groups. We've got chart analysis. We've also got how to trade, all that, you know, everything you need. And if you don't want all that, you can just join it for free, right? Great community. So get involved, in my opinion. I don't know. Things feel like they're starting to slow and drop off. Yeah, but Craig, BTC can drop about $30 and you're like, oh my God, there's a big red candle coming in. I mean, you could say that, but look, the weekend trade's definitely flat. BTC is, I mean, look at it on the, let's look at it on the 15-minute, right? It's just consolidated. It's really, I think if anything, it's just doing nothing. We've seen a couple of wicks down, but you know, look at that range. That range is super tight throughout the weekend, isn't it? I mean, look at it. If you take the average here, which is probably going to be something like that, isn't it? Like that is probably where you're at. It's literally around a $500 range. It's next to nothing. So, but at the same time, look at the volume. So the volume's definitely pretty weak on this, but we'll keep an eye on this one. Okay. Okay, good. Right, what else we got going on? Here's that open interest. Just FYI, if you were, you know, curious, by the way. Lots flipping good in the last 24 hours. That tells us a little bit more sentiment in the market. The big CME one at 0.06. Remember, CME gap, allegedly 90,500 if you believe in CME gaps, all right? But open interest is slightly bullish on this. So expectations are that we'll see a uptrend in markets. That's kind of where people are looking for. This is still building. So, you know, we're not seeing too much. So it's a slow grind, if anything. Interesting. Look at some of these buys coming in. So there's definitely a little bit of an appetite for it. Look at that buy, 223K on the upside, bought on Binance. So, you know, there's a little bit of, you know, maybe a little bit of optimism, maybe a little bit of hope to try and push these markets a little bit higher. So, you know, we'll have to sort of stay close to it and sort of wait and see what happens. There are some good news coming in as well, by the way. Look at a little bit of macro news just to give you guys a feel, and then we'll get into your questions, charts, DeFi, whatever you want to talk about, right? If you're done, but I don't think it'll be too brutal. I mean, there's a debate, isn't there, that the bear market, if this is a bear market, might not be that bad. But new laws on stablecoins coupled with more accommodating SEC have convinced corporates that crypto is no longer too risky to touch, according to PwC's leadership. Now, this is an important reference here because, you know, if you've got someone like PwC coming in, then this is probably an early indicator that, well, maybe, just maybe, there are some tailwinds coming from the markets. It feels a little bit less risky. It feels a little bit more optimistic. I think if you get, you know, if we could get a green week, let's say we retest 95K by the end of the week, you know, that could be a good news story as we head into sort of mid-Jan and some of those key reports that are going to come out as well. But yeah, PwC has expanded its digital asset practice in response to regulatory developments under the Trump administration, which have brought greater clarity to the fast-moving sector. PwC's leader Paul Griggs told the FT that measures such as the Genius Act and the new SEC rulemaking have given companies confidence to adopt digital assets. Saylor today, he looks like he might be buying a little bit more BTC tomorrow as well. So that is an interesting stance. One thing to be mindful of, big token unlocks this week could throw an opportunity out for grabbing some spot bags or potentially hitting some short trades. I've been looking at Canton Network, by the way. Again, man, where is it? Oh, please tell me I didn't delete it. Did I delete it? Oh, bro, what the fucking hell? I did delete it. So I've been looking at Canton Network because I think that might be about to throw a interesting play. They have got a big unlock coming. I don't know if it's on this list, but I did see it. They've got a pretty big unlock coming this week, so be mindful that that could happen. But yeah, some pretty interesting ones. ENA is going to have an unlock. Axie Infinity, if anyone cares about that one. Movement, Baby Shark Universe, who cares? Home, Chile. Linear's got a big unlock. About $8.38 million, 6.71% of its supply. So, you know, watch out for that one. But there was definitely something with Canton Network. I know loads of people are getting super bullish on Canton Network. So, you know, that might give us an opportunity. And then, look, like we said right at the very start, meme coins are on it, right? Meme coins are on it right now. I hope we close on the daily above 96K soon. I mean, that would be nice. That would be nice. We'll talk about where we think a close today would be good news. Good on, Vern. Good to see you, buddy. So yeah, major meme coins are experiencing significant resurgence in the market. They actually added something like $90 billion on this. But after a long period of inactivity, major meme coins in the market are on the rise again, signaling an increase in risk appetite. You know, we talked about that right at the very start. So, you know, worthwhile noting. Again, key things to look at: Pepe, Bong, Shiba Inu. All of these sort of old school coins are skyrocketing, and they're not specifically related to Ethereum. You look at ETH. ETH's pretty flat on the day, 0.56. So, nothing too crazy, but this definitely aligns to a broader market push and, like you said, a appetite for risk. I guess the question is, where's the risk appetite come from, and why has it not been here for the last couple of months? Maybe people were convinced we're going to a bear market. Shows how quickly things can change around when you get a slightly bit of positive momentum in the markets as well. So these are going to be key things, but the more and more you see this sort of stuff, the more optimistic, the more bullish, and certainly the more of a view that people will get. I like ENA. I'll buy it again under 20. Yeah, there's lots of. I think the staking platform on ENA is very, very good that I've heard. I don't own any. Haven't staked any. I haven't done any of that sort of stuff, but I have heard that it's pretty good on there. So good. All right, that takes you through the charts. We'll come back to those in a minute. Any questions you guys have, please chuck them in. By all means, I really appreciate your comments as well. And also, if you haven't already hit the like button, if you're enjoying this type of content, if you're watching this not live, then don't forget I go live every single day. 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. UK, breaking the markets down. The same for you guys on TikTok as well. So if you do have any thoughts, questions, opinions, maybe you're brand new to the crypto markets, you don't know what's what, maybe it's like, what the hell is happening? Like, I'll try and answer the best I can. I've been in crypto since 2017. And yeah, we've got a great community of people, so we just want people to win and succeed. I'll just DCA up, down, meh, buy and hold the ladies. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at a little bit at the minute. I like New York, open, pump for once. Friday, Asia's been closed since they could dump on us. Yeah, I think Asia markets are definitely a risk. Definitely. Let's take a look at the pre-markets. That might give us a bit of a flavor. Tell me what's your flavor. And then let's kind of get a bit of a view as to maybe what is coming for us this coming week. So what have we got on the pre-markets? You got the Dow opening very, very marginal, and also the also the S&P 500. So US stocks probably feel pretty lame. All right, and I don't mean that in a bad way. They just feel a bit lame. Nothing too crazy. They are, a little bit to the upside, but I don't necessarily think. I think everyone's going to be a bit like, let's just sort of see what happens. Could be a very quick move and feast. The actual Asia Pacific markets, so the Hong Kong Stock Exchange looks like it's going to open high. As does Shanghai and the STI as well. So both or all three of them look like they're going to open pretty well. Where it gets tasty is down here, look. So you've got things like the VIX oil, -6%. That could be pretty tasty. And the VIX itself, so this is a measure of the volatility in the S&P 500. Looks like that one's going to be pretty volatile as well. US Treasury is expecting to come down very marginal. So what does this mean? At the minute, you kind of say, well, Hong Kong might get tasty, right? So Asia may buy based on what we're seeing here on the pre-markets. You also got a lot here on Europe looking pretty optimistic. Look at the FTSE looking like it's going to open about 0.2. Again, I still think everyone's going to be just a bit like, man, let's just wait and see what happens. Like I'm really not, we're really not sure. All right. Really not sure. So, we got to kind of wait and see what's going to happen. But, if you were to break it down a little bit, you'd say, well, we are probably reasonably bullish on the HSI, neutral on Shanghai, and neutral on STI as well. So, we'll stay close to that. That might change over the course of the next couple of hours anyway. Maybe. We'll see. Watch oil, expect oil. Yeah, we need to put oil on here, actually. That's a good point. Let's get oil on here. We need to kind of watch that. I think will global oil change? Maybe. I don't know. I want to see oil futures and what's the big US one? It's like W something, isn't it? What's the big oil US one? I can never remember. I'm not super big on oil. WTI crude oil, here it is. But hold on a minute. WTI. Yeah, US crude oil. Is it that one? $57 a barrel. Yeah, perfect. Okay, perfect. This is what we need. So we'll keep close to these. So oil futures are opening a little bit up. Price looks like it's going to open down. All right, or it certainly feels like it's probably going to come down, which essentially is probably going to be good news. Probably going to be good news if we get that. X-Ray, thank you so much for the harmies, man. I appreciate that. Welcome in, and hope you're doing well. Welcome. Thanks for the follow as well. I appreciate that, buddy. Thank you so much. Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on this. Oil could be pretty tasty, in fairness. Oil could be tasty. Let's... Oh my God, what is this? No, I just clicked on something that I really didn't need to click on. Okay, good. Right. Bum, 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 boom, 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 boom. Is this going to be something a little bit better? Not really. Not really. I thought we would get... Hold on a minute. What's this? Final settlement, underlying GUI. Okay, yeah, it's not what I need. It's not what I need. I thought we'd get a bit more. I thought I'd got something a bit more data specific, but no, I haven't. Okay, let's see what happens here. So BTC with a little bit of a sell-off, but I don't think it's anything too wild. Let's go into the 1 hour chart. We can sort of stick a little bit to this, see what's happening with it. Try and get a bit of a view as the short term. 16 billion RDBA tokenized on XRP, why no major movement. XRP's done all right, in fairness, up 3.5%. It's in the top end of markets. And I've seen loads of narratives around price suppression and all sorts. Again, in order for those markets to move, you either need big buys, institutional adoption, and much more. At the minute, I just don't think people are. Does it mean it's going to change? Of course it does. What's happening, mate, on Tuesday the 6th? Tuesday the 6th. You have got you've got the ISM services indicator, which already is bullish, by the way. It's 52.3. You've also got the JOLT's job openings, as well as a couple of other bits and pieces. Oh no, that's Wednesday. Not a lot. Sorry. You've got the Fed barking speech, whoever that is. I don't even really know. And the New York Fed is going to purchase 1 to 4 months. 6.165 million is what the Fed's going to purchase back. So yeah, that's about it. Nothing a lot. Nothing a lot. I think there will be some kind of data release. I think 2bit mentioned last week. There's nothing really on Tuesday. Nothing at all. Tomorrow we get ISM. We want to see the ISM. We want to see the ISM way above, like, if it, it comes in with like just a 51 or something insane like that. That'd be pretty crazy. Whether it will or not. So yeah. So look, we can see some shorts loading up right now. Look, 100k sell. Shorts are loading up a little bit here on the market. So look at this, 91.3. Big old 122 buy wall a sell wall setting in. So yeah, we could definitely, this kind of ranging at 90,000, pushing back up. It's pretty standard, really, isn't it? It's not really doing too much. So hey, S&W Farms, thank you for the rose. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. Don't forget, we're here every day bringing you the latest and greatest in the markets. The ISM is the Institute for something, I can't remember what it is, something manufacturing. It's basically an idea of the expansion or contraction of the manufacturing markets. That's what it is. So the Chicago one, now, I think it was Chicago came in really bullish, by the way, right? Really, really bullish. And yeah, the Independent Society of, no, it's musician. What is it? It's essentially a measure of expansion for manufacturing sectors. So cars, hardware, whatever you want to call it. Like, it's proper, like, down and dirty manufacturing. But if you think about how countries are built, they're generally built on a manufacturing part. Like, that was the whole thing Trump running, rather than, services indicators, which, some countries do very, very well on, by the way. But ISM has been in decline from pretty much, the sort of September highs, really, in my opinion, right? So pretty much in decline. I have it here. Look, US ISM data. So pretty much since September, we've seen ISM decline. It generally correlates with market dumps. So if you, for example, look at this. So January, the ISM was bullish, right? 50.9. Essentially, if you bring the cost of goods down, it normally plays in. I don't think can we overlay this? I wonder if we can overlay this. Hold on a minute. ISM. iShares. I don't think we can. We can money flow. No, I don't think we can overlay it. I was curious as to how we could overlay it. But let's do it on the weeklies, right? Or yeah, let's do it on the weeklies. Probably a good idea. So if you take a look at January, for example, here. So you correlate the two things together. So let's take the ISM data here. So we moved up. So the ISM was expanding. So what this is telling us here is that basically manufacturing is increasing. Manufacturing brings jobs. So a lot of jobs are tied into the manufacturing sector. So you say November, December, January, the increase in ISM was showing as bullish. Well, when you then look at the charts here, what you can see is pretty much exactly that. So if you look at November, December, January, then you see that we have November was a push up, December was a push up, and then January was kind of the peak. Yeah. And then we dumped ever since then. Yeah. We rallied a bit from April, which we did actually get another little tick up. So historically, the ISM has been a relatively solid indicator that price should go up, right? Because people essentially get more money. If you can create things cheaper, you can generally pass the cost on to consumers. So if we were to get an uptick in ISM, you could then say, well, potentially Institute for Supply Management, that's it. Potentially, you could then say, well, we would expect a price rise. That's the whole thesis that Raoul Powell said, is that the ISM is going to start to push in, liquidity comes to the market, cost of goods comes down, everyone has a little bit more money, people want to take risk on. This all plays out. So we actually want a bullish ISM. Anything above 48 point, I mean, consensus is pretty flat right now. What did we say it was? So ISM is 48.2. Consensus will be 48.3. So you want to see anything above 48.2, really, because that would then tell you that the market contraction in manufacturing bottomed out in November of 2025. That's kind of what you want to see. Then December would start the uptick with a view then that potentially January could end up being way bullish or better. That would tell us then that manufacturing goes to expansion, which history tells us that if you have expanding ISM or you have expanding manufacturing sectors, this generally correlates to BTC. You can even go back even further, by the way. And you can go back, if you went back 10 years, look at the 2021 bull market cycle top. You had an absolutely skyrocketing ISM of 64.7. If you then correlate it here in BTC and say, well, where was the absolute pico in 21? Look where we peaked. March was the first peak, right? So again, correlate the two. You got pico here. March 21 was the highest indicator on the ISM. March 21 was a very bullish month for the crypto market. You can then say, well, peak was November 21. So you can see we're still pretty high. This kind of stayed consistent. And then after November, here's the November. What happened on the charts? All right. So, yeah, pretty interesting if you ask me. So we're looking for a bullish ISM or anything above contraction. So, if it's anything above 48.2, this would signal that there is expansion short term in the market, if that makes sense. Underrated channel. Thank you so much, Fat Sonic. I appreciate that. I'll be listening to this stream while at work. Can always chat, but I appreciate the alpha and the community involvement. Man, thank you so much, Fat Sonic. We appreciate you as well, buddy. We appreciate your values, your views. I love it when people get involved. And yeah, shout out to everybody. We're sending it this year, by the way. We are sending it. This channel, it's going to the freaking moon. Forget altcoins. This channel. Oh man, Craig says, what Trump was hoping to turn around with all these car builders and computer. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. Essentially, high manufacturing brings cost of goods down. So in order to expand manufacturing, you need to bring cost of energy down. How do you bring cost of energy down? You go and get $17.1 trillion worth of oil out of Venezuela. Maybe, all right? Don't hate me. I know some people might. Don't hate me. Let's not get too political. Man, play some music, man. Half of these new manufacturing plants being built in America must be so close to the back door of Big Al. Well, loads of them are, aren't there? There's an interesting interview with Tucker Carlson and Piers Morgan. I don't know if you guys have seen it. And Tucker Carlson says, hey, what is the UK famous for? And if you think we were historically in the UK a manufacturing country, coal mines, steel, potteries, like that's the problem. Our GDP, by the way, 0.9, revised down actually, I think 0.6 or something. US GDP, 4.8. Like full send mode, manufacturing could even tip it even higher. So, I mean, if you've got 6% GDP out of the US this year, hang on to your hats. The UK is definitely famous for slang as well. That is actually true as well. That is actually true. So, okay, good. Right, if you guys have any questions, by the way, I've just rattled on and we're an hour into the stream. Where do these streams go sometime? On a serious note, I feel like we started streaming about 15 minutes ago and it's already been an hour. Like, where have they gone? Yeah, that is true as well. Yeah, sarcasm that no one else understands. No one else understands. Raj, what's going on, buddy? Welcome in. DMG Walker says, what is that emoji? I don't know what that emoji is. Yeah, go UK until the coal mines got shut down and steel mines got shut down. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So if we want to, it's like if we want to start boosting GDP in the UK, we've got to become a hub for something. I personally think we should be, we always say, well, London's the hub of finance. Is it? Is it really? I mean, technically, I guess. We should start to be like the hub of crypto innovation. That's my view. Obviously, I'm slightly biased because I'm in this market, but I think you get my point. Okay, right. Pre-markets, let's get rid of that. We can keep a little bit of an eye on this. So definitely a bit of sell pressure loading up. Look at this. Get out of here, sell pressure. Let's keep an eye on what's going on with BlackRock. They're not doing anything super crazy just yet. And we'll see if this changes, by the way. I don't think it will. Not in the short term. Quick look at memes. Anything going crazy? Pepe down. So yeah, so a bit of a sell-off on memes, albeit not much. Not much. Look at that. 7.1 was the Pico peak today. 7.04. So definitely not much of a sell-off. Bonk still at 27. Brett 21. Man, memes are wild right now. Pump at 0 though. That's super easy. See, people are going into memes they know. No one cares about new memes. They all care about old memes. And then did you see World of It Financial was moving as well? I tweeted about that. Down a little bit today. It was actually well over 17 at one point. So yeah, Swift Network moving. XRP BP. Lots of good altcoins moving as well. Look at that. XCN. Absolutely skyrocketing. A few of you guys are in that. But yeah, Andy, what's going on, buddy? Welcome in. Manufacturing starting to move back to the UK. Did you ever watch Top Gear series where they filled up London with all these things built in the UK? It was mental. Yeah, I mean, the thing is though, there's bits of manufacturing in the UK that a lot of people don't get. For example, lots of Airbus wings are made in Wales, aren't there? So I guess it's whether you can count that. But core manufacturing infrastructure, that's kind of what we need. Digital Pound Foundation back, ETM Electronium. I don't even know what that is, but it sounds great. Sounds super bullish, actually. Good. All right. If you, yeah, let me know if you guys got any questions. Stream Element says you'll never be more bullish than the top commenter here. 37 up. I need to change some of them. Oh my gosh. I need to definitely change some of those around. Right. Okay. What else do we need to look at to give a view of this week? I kind of like watching this chart. Just see what's happening right now. We need to see some buys. Come and buy some more coins. Buy more coins. But Sui, background Sui's been absolutely dominating right now. Up 2.2%, 170. It's basically back to the point in which I bought it. Look at that line as well. We drew this line ages ago. Look at that bounce. Man, is the bottom in for Sui, 132. You missed it if you didn't buy any. Not financial advice, by the way, I'm just saying. But yeah, Sui broke the 20 and the 50-day exponential moving average as well. Like Sui looks primed for a potential move. I think it needs to break 187 and then, yeah, it's go time. 187, 226 next. I'm shorting Sui as a hedge and looking at low market caps personally. Nice. There's definitely some opportunities out there for low market caps. Not a lot in terms of, if I was to say my inbox is super quiet. The only one I had the other day was someone messaged me and they're like, hey, do you want to do a review on our coin? I looked at it and I was like, and then the developer took 4 days to answer me. And I was like 4 days later, they were like, oh, yeah, no, that'd be great. And I'm just like, bro, you take 4 days to answer me. I want nothing to do with your coin. And they literally messaged me and they're like, what's wrong with you? Why won't you promote our project? It's like, you took 4 days to answer me. Like, I don't want to be involved in a project that takes 4 days to answer someone. What the heck is that? What the heck is that? Anyway. Sen looks okay, Tim. Breaking back above the 3.86 million market cap. So looks super low on volume, though. That's the only thing I would say. Volume looks a little bit painful on this one. I don't know much about it. It is grinding its way back up, to be honest. But yeah, probably a critical point. Does it bounce off this range as it got a good bit of volume in right now? But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, Sentinel, good they indexed everything as well. But not a lot going on over here. It's all a bit quiet in DeFi. I think it's just quiet in the whole market. Everyone's just like, what's going to happen tomorrow morning? What is happening? Order books. Are these going to refresh? Go on, order books. I've never heard of Rose, but my friend put me on. It went long, a break out. I don't know. Rose? Never heard of it. Bought 2 weeks ago in profit. Nice, Fairground. Was that Sui, yeah? Yeah, that would have been a good buy, actually. 2 weeks ago, it would have been... I mean, yeah, you were pretty much bottom markets like Christmas, weren't you? So what does that be? 28th, like, yeah, 21st, something like that. Yeah, you pretty much nailed the bottom of that, I would argue. Pretty much. What did you get it in at, like 130 or something? Nice. That would have been a nice move, actually. Nice move. Like, let's say you got it. Let's say you got the low end of that wick, 137. Man, you're already up like 25%. Beauty. Bullish on Zebek. Yeah, Zebek's having a good move today. I don't know too much behind the ecosystem. The only thing, this is why I don't like Zebek, by the way. And I like it as a project. So I like the core fundamentals of Zebek. This is too manufactured for me, in my opinion. Now, I don't know. I can't prove it, but look at that. Massive wake up, dump. Massive wake up, dump. Massive. Like, it's too that, which is why I didn't like it. It seemed to move counterintuitive to the markets, which I didn't like. So, yeah. I mean, look, it's 8%, so depending on when you buy it, but I feel like there is some stuff going on with Zebek that maybe just market makers, maybe just a way of ticking things over. I don't know, but it just feels a little bit out there. I haven't bought anything for ages, in fairness. I've been pretty quiet. You know, I'm probably trading more than I have done for ages and ages. So Canton Network, you guys know I showed you that trade I took on. I'm not in anything at the minute, by the way. Nothing at all. I'm going to wait and see what happens. But yeah, the Canton trade, nailed the Canton trade. Nailed it. I mean, literally nailed that trade, like you'll believe. But yeah, not really done anything else. Not really done anything else since then, in fairness, by the way. Not really done anything else since then. But yeah, I like BitUniX, by the way. Again, link in the description. Join the Discord. You can get the link over there if you want to go and trade all of what you see. But yeah, I mean, this is what I mean. Look how flat this range is. If you were even thinking about trading this right now, look how flat the range is here on BTC. Super rangy. Like, you could set... Do you know what this is perfect for? Grid trading, right? I don't know if you guys have ever set grid bot trading bots up. Like, yeah, this would be perfect because you just set the range here. You would set the range at like 91,051 and you set the upper range around 91,467 and it would literally just trade all its way through. You'd make a killing on that. What are you looking at buying and why ain't you in the market? No, I am in the market. So I'm holding XRP, I'm holding Ethereum, Solana, I'm holding like AVAX, and I mean, I'm holding memes as well, like Pepe and Bonk. So what am I looking at? A lot of those are still underwater. A lot of those would still be reasonably good buy-ins. Ondo's probably one that's on my mind a little bit. Do I take a bit more of a position in that? Monad, I'm probably keen to see, but I want to see a little bit of a build out. Umar says that's what I do. Yeah, I want to see a bit of a build out on Monad, but I think that's going to come pretty soon. So again, I'm just not in a rush right now. We always said there was going to be a relief rally in the market, and you know, I just traded a little bit more. Would I DCA or buy something new? I'll probably DCA on some of the positions I've got. FYI, by the way, this is not me. This 2-bit crypto is not me, right? So if I message you while I'm live, it's not me. It's not me. That's why you should follow this account, and then you know that it's me. There's loads of scammers coming in. It's not me, all right, people? If you do want to get hold of me, by the way, join the Discord, go in the general chat, and wait for the person with red letters. I'm the only one in there with red letters, and I will try and get to as many of you as I can if you've got answers out there. But shout out to everybody joining the Discord, by the way. Welcome in. Remember, you do /verify. That gives you some access to it, and obviously we can see what you do. And if you don't do it, then you get yeeted. So that's just life. That's how things are. And if you're not sure, by the way, we do now have a help channel that you can just type in and be like, oh, what the heck? I mean, technically you can, I guess. I mean, it'd be pretty out there. I mean, you would literally cause... I mean, can you imagine, like, what would happen? That'd be wild. So, I mean, technically, yes, but it's, like, the most unlikely scenario ever. Crash loading. I received notification Coinbase and XRP supply is at an 8-year low. They wouldn't send that out if prices were about to appreciate. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a bit of a red herring, personally. So I have a Coinbase account. I've not seen anything about that, but I do know that a lot of people are showing this idea that XRP is low. It probably is. Doesn't mean. I mean, when you say it's low, it's not that low. There's still a lot out there, but I don't know what the actual number is. Excuse me. Andy Box is shaking you all out. Yeah, I don't know what the actual number is right now. Can't remember. Oh, thanks, Casey. What a legend. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. But yeah, if I could find it, I would let you know. But I don't know where to find it, to be honest. Psst. On exchanges, yeah, I just can't remember what the actual like. Let me see if I can find it. I just can't remember what the actual number was, if I'm honest. Can I see this number? So currently on Binance, allegedly there's around 2.6 billion XRP, which is what, I mean, it's still an absolutely staggering amount of money, to be honest. But I thought you could just see it in a better chart than what I've got right now. It's Xmas, it's going to be low. I mean, that's true. That's true. It's just going to be quiet, isn't it? Real time, futures market spikes. Yeah, I see. I just don't think there's a way of finding out. I don't know where people get it from. Maybe they get it from here, actually. Volume heat map, futures, liquidation. Market cap, futures, spot info. Hello, my name is Calvin. Is it actually? Yeah, please meet Jan. Welcome in. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Yeah, see, I don't know where people get it from, really. 2 days ago, yeah. So I saw this. XRP supply plunging 50% in months, only 1.6 billion left. Where did the tokens go? So I saw that. Where do they have it on? Token terminal. Interesting. Interesting. Circulating supply. Circulating supply on XRP. Circulating supply for blockchains. So where does it tell us where it is? Joe Bro, what's going on, buddy? Welcome in. Happy New Year to you. Andrew, yeah, Happy New Year, man. Appreciate you, buddy. I don't think they have retail's best. Yeah, I don't think they do. Yeah, fit Calvin in the chat. That's why I was kind of like, I wouldn't say patronizing, but I was, you know. It's kind of annoying that I can't see where it's coming from. Circulating supply, blockchain L1, 720 billion, market share 8%. So why can't I see what exchange it's on? Financial statement. Circulating market cap, token trading volume, markets. Anyway, don't know. BTC pushing back up though. Look, see, this is what I was telling you. Like this super like crazy ranging right now with BTC. So nothing super wild is probably where we sit. Nothing super wild where we sit, but hey, it is what it is. Let's hope for some bullish momentum. And yeah, we want to see some sort of like, you know, some big old buys. That's what we want to see. I'll be down for that. It's super annoying actually that I can't find where they're getting this information from. Like, where do they get their information from? Do you think that MP Materials is the next play? Oh, I've heard people talking about. I don't really do stocks, Joe Bro. If I'm honest, I used to buy stocks, but I used to buy like dividend stocks and then pay me out in dividends. rather than anything else. So I'm probably just not the right person to. I'm probably not the right person to ask about it, if I'm dead honest, because I just don't really know. 1 hour bull flag on Dash. Making way to third touch, a high trend line. Target is $52. Currently at 43. Worth a watch. Dash, man. So many people ask me about things like Dash, Monero. Yeah. Watch out. Watch out for Ethereum. Right. Glassnode looks like we can get this information from. Let's have a look. Glassnode XRP. On-chain market intelligence. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, here we are. XRP. Oh, okay. We might have a little bit of a... Let's get rid of this. We don't need to see this. So this is XRP new addresses. Okay. Bullish. Although, where does it go to? 2025. See, this is the only problem with like stuff like this. You have to upgrade to see everything. How much do I want to pay to upgrade? Oh, cool. It's $1,000 a month. All right, cool. Yeah, thank you for that. Probably not Glassnode. I think I'll pass. Exchanges. Here we go. Proof of reserves, exchange balances. Oh, come on, bro. Let me in. Oops, I pressed the wrong one. Continue. Come on, bro. What the heck? What the heck, bro? Let me in. Oil will spike though soon. A refining can't refine the oil we pump from here in the US. They were designed in the late 80s, early 90s. Yeah, they can. Louisiana and Texas, they can do it. We talked about that right at the very start of the stream. Yeah, Louisiana and Texas can process Venezuelan oil. Is crypto cooked? No, it doesn't look like it. It's the opposite right now. It's actually looking all right. Oh, you can't see it unless you go to the advanced plant. Man, that's so broken. Like, why even have this stuff if you can't even see it? Oh, man. That is the worst thing. It's $1,000. Oh, advanced. It's $50 a month. Get out of here. What, bro? I don't want to pay $50 a month for random charts. Come on. That's not good. That's not good, is it? That's no good. We had the price of oil at the bottom here. Look, what's like, obviously the markets are relatively close, but yeah, 57.42. We'll see. Futures are up a little bit. Oil futures are actually up a tiny bit. So nothing super wild out there right now. Like we said, BTC is trying. Let's bring up this. And I was going to look at, let's see if we can find, let's see what they're posting out actually. Anything of interest. Jan 2nd. The deceleration capital inflows comes on. Okay. ETF flows still show renewed demand. I mean, there's a lot of charts, I guess. Juan says, save this comment. What have you haven't put a comment? I can't save a comment you haven't put in, bro. When you bullish, TJ, I am moderately optimistic. Let's call it that. They can process Venezuelan oil. It's called Mary 16. Yeah, I thought you said that. I thought you said they couldn't do it. Oh, sorry. We have light sweat here. Oh, okay, yeah. It's a particular type of oil that can be mixed with our like. Right. Okay, I get you. Sorry. Yeah, I think I must have took your point. But yeah, oil spike and we'll finally have XRP go well. Let's hope so. I'm down for it. I mean, Glassnode does look actually pretty good. I just don't want to pay $50 a month. Bruh. I don't want to pay $50 a month for that. Not about it. I'm not about it. Maybe I should. Maybe I should. Cool. Right, what time are we on? Oh my god, it's 10:10. It's 10:10. How did that happen? How did that happen, everybody? When did that just become a thing? Anyway, right. Well, let us see how this market plays out. I mean, interesting enough, it's been pretty flat over the course of the last hour or so while we've been live. So nothing too crazy going on, really. Where you at? God's on county, mate. Who's not bullish now? Well, I mean, yeah, that's true, Fairground. I mean, many people are, by the way. Many people are. So, but yeah. Let's see where the market looks. I'm still in this world where I want to see it break above 91,800. 92,000 would be pretty bullish for me. I mean, look, as long as we close green, green's good. We will see what happens to the we'll see what happens to the Asia markets. They open in literally, what, 3 hours or something? So that's going to give us a bit of a view. But as always, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. That is our stream. We'll be back tomorrow night, as always. Let's hope for some bullish outlook, particularly when we see that. Where you at? Where's the memes? Oh, we were talking about memes earlier on. Casper Daily Chart looks hot AF to meet right now. Oh, nice. ICG. Yeah, we'll take a look at it tomorrow for sure. What is oil spiking up to do with XRP rising? Because it'll generally drive down costs. So oil indirectly will support crypto by driving costs of inflation down. If I was to recommend anything, go and check my video out talking specifically about Bitcoin that I released earlier on today. That gives you a bit of a flavor as to what that could look like. But at the same time, by the way, if you haven't already, turn your notification bell on to all and hit the like and subscribe button. And I, as always, appreciate every single one of you tuning in. If you're just tuning in, maybe it's your first time, you're like, oh, this guy sounds like he's kind of cool to listen to. Hit that notification bell. Then you know we go live tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern. I'm live every single day with the exception of Saturday. So we're dialed in for this week. It's going to be a good one. But until tomorrow, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. See you tomorrow. Take care.